Greetings from Blood Moon Productions, one of America's leading publishers of celebrity biographies. I'm Danforth Prince, here to tell you about the release of one of the most explosive, one of the hottest, and one of the most entertaining biographies we've ever published. It's Rock Hudson, Erotic Fire. Not for the faint of heart, it's about everyone's favorite Rock Hudson, a naval ensign and truck driver who reigned for 7 years as the #1 box office star in the world, an all-American lust object and phallic symbol who attracted the attention and desire of millions. Sources for this book included many dozens of friends and frenemies of Rock, virtually anyone who ever interacted with, conflicted with, or made love to him. Celebrity biographer Darwin Porter spent decades on and off investigating the revelations we've included. Rock's story began when he served in the U.S. Navy, stationed in the Philippines during the closing months of World War II. He even fathered a son on leave from the Navy when he returned to his native Illinois. After the war, Rock arrived in Hollywood announcing, "I don't care how many goddamn casting couches I have to lie on. I want to be a movie star." That goal led to his discovery by Henry Wilson, a notoriously promiscuous talent agent during the dying days of Hollywood's golden age. Before he hit it big, Rock struggled through minor roles that included Taza, son of Cochise, and the love interest of then more famous actors who included Yvonne De Carlo and Piper Laurie. Two of the most important men in Rock's career included producer Ross Hunter and director Douglas Sirk. These two deeply closeted men cast him in Magnificent Obsession and All That Heaven Allows. Each of them fell in love with their leading man. Rock's conquests also included Ed Moule, executive producer in charge of production at Rock's home studio, Universal, who said, quote, "Rock was right up there with Marilyn Monroe. Both stars used sex to broker business deals and saw sexual intercourse as little more than a handshake." The world has a misconception that Rock was exclusively gay, when, in fact, bisexual would be a more apt description. He seduced some of the world's most celebrated women, beginning in his early days with Judy Garland, Joan Crawford, and Tallulah Bankhead, each of whom spread news of his sexual prowess through the Hollywood grapevine. In 1949, Rock met a struggling starlet, Marilyn Monroe, with whom he launched an affair. At the time, she was also sleeping with Tony Curtis, but after Marilyn moved on to other adventures, Curtis and Rock briefly became lovers, later morphing into rivals for some of the same roles. Rock had an amazing penchant for seducing many otherwise straight male actors who appeared with him in his films. His short-term bedmates included Scott Brady, I Was a Shoplifter, Robert Stack, Written on the Wind, Jeff Chandler, Iron Man, Steve Cochran, Back to God's Country, Nick Adams in Pillow Talk, and Rod Taylor in A Gathering of Eagles. A co-star who did not become a bedmate of Rock's was John Wayne, with whom he appeared in The Undefeated. In a moment of envy, the Duke said, "What a waste of a face on a queer. Do you know what I could have done with that face?" During his filming of that four-hanky weeper, Magnificent Obsession, Jane Wyman, the ex-Mrs. Ronald Reagan, fell in love with Rock. But love went out the window when she returned to her hotel suite in Manhattan and found Rock in bed with her handsome young husband, bandleader Fred Karger, only a few hours before she was scheduled to attend the film's New York City premiere. As Rock's fame grew, many people considered him the most desirable male on the planet. Women and men seemed to fall for him at the same rate. He made Giant in 1955, with co-stars Elizabeth Taylor and James Dean, who took turns sharing Rock's bed. Eventually, Dean and Rock became enemies, but Elizabeth grew into his lifelong friend. Rock became increasingly desirable as an ornament on the grandest social stages of Europe. he managed to seduce three of that era's most prominent women with royal titles. In Monaco, it was Her Highness Grace Kelly. In London, it was Princess Margaret Rose. And in Paris, it was Princess Soraya, the exiled Queen of Iran. Rock seduced Hollywood royalty, too, and without gender preference. Marlon Brando, beside his swimming pool. Richard Burton, who arrived at Rock's house one drunken night looking for Elizabeth Taylor. Monty Clift, whose life he helped rescue. George Peppard, who appeared with him in Tobruk and who became his soulmate. Tony Perkins, a bit too much like Norman Bates. Guy Madison, who thought he was more beautiful than Rock. And Rory Calhoun, whom Rock, with Henry Wilson, betrayed to Confidential magazine. Rock will forever be associated with Pillow Talk. Released in 1959, this artfully campy romantic comedy about the battle of the sexes also starred Doris Day. Together, they formed a romantic screen team whose humor, charm, and box office receipts rivaled anything else of their era. The world learned that Rock died of AIDS in 1985, becoming the first famous person to succumb to the dreaded disease that would soon kill millions around the world, as it does today, especially in the sub-Sahara. As he lay dying in agony, Elizabeth Taylor was Rock's frequent visitor. He told her, "This is my shining hour. At least I focused world attention on this plague that could strike anybody, not just me." Today, Rock enjoys a major league cult following as the golden boy of a glamorous and bygone era. Each new generation seems to discover him anew. He lives again in the pages of Erotic Fire. We hope you'll order a copy of the life story of this amazing man. He defied convention and lived as the star of his own drama. Many thanks for looking at it, and best wishes from all of us at Blood Wound Productions.